Hello and welcome to the Wayward Skein. This is episode 37. My name is Lynn. I'm also known as Toll Baby pretty much anywhere on the internet. Kitty is sitting on top of the couch there. Other kitty is wandering around aimlessly. So today is Monday, March 11th, and holy crap, March is going by really quickly, but that might be because I've been doing very little other than eating, sleeping, and working for the last few weeks. So unintentionally, I've gotten very little knitting time in the last week because I've been doing nothing but working and coming home and sleeping. Some of you will have seen this picture that I posted on Instagram of a pile of fruit in the snow. Thursday night, sorry. We were having a party on Friday for some coworkers who were leaving. Technically, they've already left. These are the people that I'm replacing right now. And, well, two of them are the people I'm replacing. My boss is replacing the other one. And so we were having a party, and since I work in a grocery store, I volunteered to pick up the cake and a fruit tray and a vegetable tray. Bent down, grabbed the fruit tray on top of the vegetable tray out of my trunk, took one step, fruit tray fell off. Every single piece of fruit fell out of the tray. So I ended up having to go back to the grocery store the next morning to get another one. I think it was a breaking point. I spent most of Thursday night crying. I spent a good portion of Friday trying really hard not to cry. Saturday was pretty much a write-off as well. I was at work for a good part of, well, I got home from work on Friday night. I went to sleep at 6 o'clock. I slept pretty much until 10 o'clock the next morning. I woke up at 7. I went back to sleep an hour later. So I slept a lot. Woke up with a massive headache. Went to work with a lot of Advil in my system. Got rid of the headache. Hung out with some friends. Came home Sunday. I ended up watching an episode of Scrubs that was a little bit depressing, and I started crying, and then I had to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and started just sobbing on the toilet. And I was just like, okay, yeah, it's time to do something about this. So yeah, I have an appointment with my doctor, and yeah, it's been a lot of stress at work, and I've been basically sitting around my apartment disgusted with the mess and not doing anything about it. So as I did not go to my mom's on Sunday night, we had a big snowstorm yesterday and the roads weren't great, and like it wasn't a huge amount of accumulation, but because it was hovering around the freezing mark, it made it really slippery. So my mom was like, no, stay home. So I did, and after I had my little meltdown in the bathroom, I started cleaning up. I accomplished a little teeny bit of cleaning. It's not visible by any means, but I accomplished a little teeny bit, and I am determined to get a little teeny bit done every day. So that's actually what I'm doing. As soon as I'm done recording, while I'm waiting for this to process and everything, I will be in my kitchen doing some dishes. So trying to do something about my situation rather than just sitting on my toilet sobbing like a baby. It's one of the things that has been bothering me lately is the fact that my apartment is an absolute disaster, and I can't blame the kid because she's not here. I mean, a lot of it is residual mess from when she was here, and I just never bothered to get it cleaned up, but I can't blame her because honestly, I've been by myself for 3 weeks now. I could have cleaned up by now. So let's get into the knitting. I did not meet either one of my goals, but that's okay because I had almost no knitting time. There was a lot of work. And apparently my buddy's trying to tell me I should go to bed early again tonight. Actually, I had about half the caffeine I normally have in a day today, so that's probably why I'm tired. And I can fix that because I have the other half right here. I'm not going to drink the whole thing, but I do need something to drink, and it didn't occur to me to make myself tea. So there we go. A little bit more caffeine in my system. So I did make it part way through the heel flap of the sock. I'm about halfway down. I didn't knit the whole heel flap. I didn't do the heel turn. I drove in to work on Friday because I had the cake and the vegetable tray and the fruit tray and a bunch of other stuff to bring with me for the party. So I actually drove in. So I missed out on 2 of my weekly knitting opportunities. I usually knit my sock on the bus. It's usually about a half-hour, 40-minute commute in the morning, and usually about 20 minutes at night. I leave fairly late, so when I leave work at 5:30, it's usually a lot lighter traffic than it is when I'm going to work at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know why I go to work at 7:30 in the morning either. I don't work that early. Technically, I work 9 to 5, but I'm usually at the office shortly after 8. This morning I was there at 8:40, so I was actually pretty late this morning. So my sock, my lovely sock, these are the vanilla latte socks, and I feel like an absolute jerk because once again I didn't write any show notes, so what's her name? Victoria. Nope. Victoria Rose Jeans, I think, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm an idiot, and I should have checked before I started recording. Let's go see. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm a terrible podcaster. I'm really bad at this. Don't mind me. It'll all be okay. Virginia. I knew it was not Victoria. Virginia Rose Jeans. So these are the vanilla latte socks. Let's see if I can find a picture here. Where are the pictures? Helps if I'm on the actual pattern page. So this is what they're supposed to look like. Come on, focus. Never mind. So this is what they do look like. They will look nicer stretched out. Sorry, I will get the already stretched out one. The pile of stuff that I have on my desk. So there's the finished one. Ta-da! I finished a thing. This is the unfinished one. So I'm really enjoying the pattern. It's a freebie on Ravelry. It's well worth knitting a pair. They're super fast. They're super fun. I'm kind of wanting to make another pair of peppermint mocha socks by CC Allman. So these are my peppermint mocha because those are going to be a speckled yarn, and I really wanted some. I wanted to do some stripy knitting, and I don't really like the stripy yarn for much other than socks. So that was going to be. It had to be a pair of socks. Plus, I wanted a pair of socks for me because I just finished one for Rob, so it's my turn. The yarn, and I will pull the ball out because I actually wound it fancy. Look at that. I made myself an everlasting gobstopper ball. And one of these days, maybe I'll be able to say it too. So this is Juliana's Fiber Lucid Dream sock in her Raver colorway. It was part of the Grays and Brights club that she had several years ago. There are 2 separate, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the 2 shades of gray. One of them is bluish, that's this stripe here, and one of them is sort of brownish, and that's that little bit there. There you can see the difference. So I'm loving the colors. The highlighter yellow is making it for me. I'm loving the yellow. And so I'm going to keep plugging away at these. I guess I'm going to make a slightly more realistic goal for this week because there was no way I was going to meet the goals that I set last week. Hi. You don't need to come up. No, you really don't. So my goal for this week is going to be to finish the heel flap, which I will probably do tonight, do the turn, and do the gusset decreases. If I get into the foot, fine. If I don't, that's fine too. And this sock, I'm not doing my usual formula. I'm actually doing it by stripes. So I did the cuff until I ran out of green. And then I did I started the heel flap when I was running out of green the second time. What? Really? The second I back up, you're going to walk away. See? She wants up, but she doesn't really want up. So I'm following the colors. I started the heel flap just before I was going to run out of green. I love the fact that I got one stripe of gray between two green stripes up here, and I'm hoping that it works out that way on the second sock. And I started my toe decreases when I got past the yellow. So I did one row of plain knitting, not in pattern, around with the gray, and then I started the toe decreases. So I'm letting the stripes dictate what I'm doing. And it's a lot of fun. I had forgotten how much fun knitting stripy socks was. Because you can just kind of let yourself go and whatever. You again. See? She started doing this thing where every time I go to pick her up, she runs away. I think she knows her boy is coming home next week. That's one of my big fun things that's coming up soon. Both my kids are moving back home next weekend. They've both, well, my son has been with his dad for close to a year now. And I think it was end of school year last year that he went to his dad's. And my daughter has been there for the last 3 weeks, and they're both coming home this weekend. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm certainly not going all the way to the other end of the house to get you. She does this thing where she'll go to the other end of the apartment and start yowling at you at the top of her lungs because she wants you to come pet her over there. Or she'll climb, I live in a semi-basement, so it's actually just 4 steps up to the street. And she likes to sit in front of the door and yell at me from up there. She's a weird cat. So I do my socks on 2.25 millimeter needles, and you'll see I'm using my carbons, DPNs. I always use DPNs. I haven't been able to get the knack of magic loop. And I find 2 at a time too fiddly. So I'm on my standard DPNs, 2.5 millimeter, which is the US 1.5. I also did not make my goal on the Color Affection. I was supposed to get the solid stripe at the bottom done. I didn't, but as you can tell, I have gone past the standard stripe. So I think I'm on my 5th row. 5th? Yeah. 5th row of the solid brown. And I'm just supposed to knit in the brown until I get 2 inches, roughly. So I'm just going to keep plugging away at this. If I finish it this week, great. And it goes all the way to the end, so you can see where it stopped there. Where it stopped fitting into the previous stripe section. And the solid actually goes all the way to the end and continues. So I'm having a great old time with this. Boring as anything. We all know how much I love garter, which is not at all. I don't like knitting garter, but look at how pretty this is. It's gorgeous. The light isn't really showing the colors properly. There we go. If I turn towards the super bright white light, it'll show it because this light's kind of yellowish. This is my Color Affection. It's upside down by Vera Valimaki. There, you see all 3 sections there. The yarn is Night Owl Fibers Basic Sock. The top is done in rusted hook, rusty hook, rusted hook, I don't remember. Then I added in some pumpkin spice latte for the orange stripes. And then down here I added in the brown stripes, which are leather boots. And I'm loving the brown so much. It's got so much depth to it. This is the ball. So it's got a lot of different shades of brown to it. And I'm loving the colors. Thank you so much, Rachel. I came back from Stitches Midwest in 2017. Super bummed out because I hadn't had any money to buy yarn while I was there. As usually happens, I had money when I got back. So this is what happens to me with festivals. I don't set money aside ahead of time. I plan to be able to take a large chunk out of my budget for that month. So I was unable to take a chunk out of my budget for August 2017. When I got home, I had money sitting around, so I ordered these 3 skeins of yarn. They came very quickly. Rachel has awesome color sense. Her products are super, super good. I love her yarn. It's squishy, it's soft, it's so much fun to knit with. It's not at all splitty. and it keeps its loft. Like it's a very airy yarn, and it keeps its bounce. So I'm very much enjoying this. Look at how pretty that is. I can't wait till I can take it off the needles and like really stretch it out properly, because it's driving me a little bit bonkers that I can't. But there we are. That's what it's going to look like eventually. And it's going to be huge because it's all scrunched up on a, I think it's a 24 or 36 inch needle. So it's all scrunched up. And I'm going to try and put this back up here. I'll show you real quick. That's what it's going to look like. Oop, that way. Only, you know, in orange, brown, and teal. So that's it for my knitting. I'm going to keep plugging away at that. I'm not going to make it a goal to finish it before next week because I don't think I'm going to get 2 inches done on that. It takes me almost 2 episodes of scrubs to get through one row at this point. The rows are long. It's really boring. I'm finishing it because it's a labor of love and I really want to be able to wear it. So I'm determined to finish it. I'm not determined to finish it by next Monday. I know myself. I have a lot to get accomplished before next weekend, so I'm going to take it easy on the knitting goals. So hopefully get to the end of the gusset decreases on the sock. Keep plugging away at the shawl. I'm going to try and give myself the end of March as a deadline for the shawl, but I'm not going to sweat it. It's not a big deal. I do have to go fabric shopping at some point, though, because my friend Sylvie actually bought the pattern for my wedding dress. I'm so excited. I was at their place on Saturday, and she showed me the pattern, and I'm so excited. So sometime in the near future, we are going to have to do some measuring and some fabric shopping. I'm so psyched. Yay! As far as wedding planning is going, it's going slow, which is fine because I still have a year and a half. I'm kind of debating when to send save the date cards, though, because most of the people who are invited to our wedding are going to have to travel. So I'm debating. I'm thinking I'll probably send them in the fall to give people a year to prepare. So my goal is to sort of get that done by the time Rob and I move in together. I already have an idea for what I want the save the date cards to look like. They're just going to be standard postcard size so that there's no extra postage. I have the image that I want to use, so it's just going to be basically a question of printing them up and getting people's addresses and stuff. So that's what we're going to do. I'm probably going to do some scouting for wedding stuff when I'm there Easter weekend. Because we have to find a photographer. That was the one thing I regretted the most for my first wedding, was that the only people taking pictures, there were a couple of family members taking pictures, and my mom. And I love my mom. She's not a professional photographer. So I don't have any. I would like to have professional photos this time around. So that and the food for the reception are my 2 big splurges. That's where I want to spend the money. I don't give a flying fig about flowers. Not a single one. Decorating, don't care. I'm gonna see if there's a way for us to just play music and not, I don't plan on there being dancing or anything like that, because I don't enjoy dancing and I don't want to dance. So that's the sort of thing that I could, take it or leave it sort of thing at any wedding, and I really don't want it at mine because I would like to really, you're back. Hi. Hi. You have a mat on your neck. Are you going to come here now? Yeah, this time you're going to let me. Yes, flail like that. Why don't you make them feel sorry for you? There you go. Are you happy? Your adoring public can see you now. I wish you guys could hear her purring. It's ridiculous. Hi. You say hello? Look, you're on camera. You're famous. 6 whole people are watching you. Can I put you down now? You're a brat. Nope, she doesn't want to get down. So that's about what's going on in the world of wedding planning. TV-wise, I've watched an entire season of Scrubs since I talked to you guys last. I am actually in the beginning of season 6. And I think the series has maybe possibly jumped the shark at this point. But we'll see. Hi. You're not going to let me put you down, are you? Nope. So I've been watching that. I haven't watched anything else. I am super excited about a couple of podcasts that came out this week, though, so I want to watch those tonight after I get this up and uploaded. So, yeah. Okay, now you're really going to have to go because you're getting heavy and you're stuck in my shirt. I'm covered in floof now. Covered in floof. Silly cat. So, yeah, there's a couple of podcasts that I'm super excited about that came out this week. I'm going to start off with Steeped in Books. She actually put out a video last weekend. Well, it was the beginning of last week. It was the books that made me a reader, and I really want to check that one out. I feel bad. I meant to at the time, and I kind of forgot about it. It sort of went off my radar screen. That's one of the ones I want to watch tonight because there are so many books that really got me obsessed with reading when I was a kid. I was always the kid who would be hiding under the blankets with a flashlight reading way after my bedtime, and I would have books hidden in my desk at school. I would have books in my bag. I would have books in my lunchbox. I had books everywhere, and I was always sneaking one out to read. So, what? Don't look at me like that. You're a poo head. She's sitting there staring at me as if I've never picked her up in her life. So anyway, I'm very much looking forward to that one from Sarah. I think probably the books that really got me into reading, like, proper fiction, probably at the Anne of Green Gables series. When I was a kid, my mom bought me all of those books. There are 8 books in the Anne of Green Gables series. There are 3 books in the Emily of New Moon series, and I read all of those. And I mean, I just devoured them and couldn't get enough. And I read everything my mom had in the bookshelves at home. Some of these were books that she had inherited from my grandfather. That I would read anything. My uncle actually had a collection of Reader's Digest condensed books, the ones that were like 4 or 5 to a book, to a volume. I read all of those, all of them. I read everything that was in the house. By the time I was 13 and in high school, I was borrowing, well, I mean, when I was 10 and got my adult, really? Her head is like right here, like right below here. You're a brat. When I was 10, I got an adult card for the library, for the city library. My mom used to take us to the library once or twice a week. And the thing is I would check out 9, 10 books and I'd be done by the time we went back 2 days later. What? No, I'm not kidding. She is going on the side of my leg. Yeesh, go away. So by the time I was 10, my mom kind of got tired of having to take me to the library every 2 days. And so I was allowed to ride my bike down there, which is funny because the library was literally across town from where we lived. It's a small town, but it was all the way across town from where we lived. And so when we were younger and taking swimming lessons, it didn't bother her to stop by there 2-3 times a week because we were there for swimming lessons anyway. It was a big sportsplex thing in Orleans. And but by the time I was out of swimming lessons, because at one point she gave me the choice to either continue with music or to continue with swimming lessons. And I sucked at swimming. I sink like a stone. Well, I did at the time. I don't anymore because, well, fat floats. But at the time, I was skinny and I had just grown a foot. And I would sink like a stone. It was ridiculous. And I've never been able to do breaststroke. I've never been able to do butterfly. I'm rubbish at all of that. I can do backstroke all day long. Not even a joke. I can do that for hours. I can dog paddle with the best of them. That's all I can do, which means I never passed a swimming class in my life because they require you to be able to do that other stuff too. So I never passed swimming, so I decided to stick with music. And when I stopped taking swimming classes, I was allowed to take my bike and go down to the library by myself. Well, my mom figured that I had probably read just about every picture book in the place. So she actually signed me up for an adult card so that I could borrow books from the rest of the library, because there was one room that was set aside for kids, and if you had a kid's card, that's all you could borrow. So she signed me up for an adult card. I was able to borrow books from the rest of the library. I think I read everything in that place. When I got to high school and discovered, oh wow, there's all these books that I've never seen before, because I grew up in a French town. Our public library, a lot of the books were in French. So, I mean, there was a fair amount of English too, but when I got to high school, I discovered Stephen King. My parents did not approve of Stephen King. And I read everything the man wrote. All of it. I loved Stephen King. I worshipped Stephen King. Everything he wrote, I would read. I still have almost all his books. I'm still working on fleshing out my collection, because a lot of them I read borrowed from the library, so I never bought them. I'm working on it now. That's one of my authors that I absolutely collect and will keep forever. He's one of them. After that, I discovered mysteries. See, at home, all my mom reads are romance novels. So that shelf back there is mostly romance novels. I've got, I think this shelf here is Nora Roberts. This over here is Debbie McComber. My Catherine Coulter is mostly over here, but there's some back there too. The top shelf, I think, is Catherine Coulter. So I have a number of romance authors that I like a lot and that I collect, but the vast majority of what I read is not in that genre. This shelf over here is horror, medical horror, thrillers. There's 3 shelves of British mysteries. There's an entire shelf of Anne Rice over there that I'm somewhat ashamed of, because I've really only read 2 of them. Somebody actually gave me a whole bunch of Anne Rice books that I've always intended to read but never really gotten around to. The top shelf over there is true crime. This shelf here is fantasy and sci-fi. Mostly fantasy. There's a little bit of sci-fi, less sci-fi. That was more my brother's thing. That shelf back there, not the one you can see, but there's one against the other wall, is classics and linguistics and university textbooks and stuff like that. That's romance. There's a shelf over here that you guys can't see just past the edge of the window that is mostly French. This shelf right here, right next to me, is biographies and travelogues and things like that that I really like reading. I like biographies and autobiographies. And the general fiction is sort of in a pile next to my desk. I don't have enough bookshelves for all my books. I was trying to catalog them, so I was actually emptying boxes that are still in my son's bedroom, cataloging and putting the general fiction in a pile here, but I think I'm going to have to repack them, because I don't think I'll get through a whole heck of a lot of books before I move in the fall. So yeah, I read a lot. Well, I used to read a lot. I'm rather disappointed with myself of late. When I started going to university in 2010, I sort of stopped reading. I didn't have time. I had little kids, and I was going to school 2 nights a week, and I did not have time for reading for pleasure. I was reading a lot of textbooks and stuff, but so I kind of stopped, and I think that's a big part of what's been missing in my life, is that I'm missing that. I don't, it's been years since I've been destroyed by a paperback. So I really want to get back into reading, and I think that's one of those things. It's one of those new habits I'm trying to acquire. I'm trying to get myself into my room at a reasonable hour fairly early before I'm sorry, I'm still covered in cat hair. Fairly early before I have to go to bed, like at least an hour before I would ideally like to go to sleep, so that I can read for a little while and just relax and not be stuck in front of a screen all the time. So that's one of the things I'm trying to accomplish. And so that's why I'm super excited about that video of Sarah's. And holy crap, was that a tangent. I'm really sorry, guys. So Steeped in Books also put out 3 other videos this week. Wow. I can take a tangent and make it in a 2-week road trip. Not even, wow. So she also put out her February 2019 month-end wrap-up. She put out an announcement regarding March 2019 Create Your Own Readathon, so check that one out. And she put out her weekly reading vlog, so check those out. Cherry Heart put out episode number 64. I'm still kind of embarrassed at the extent of that tangent. The Knit Girls put out episode number 430. The Knitting Expat did a couple of vlogs and a Knit Crate review. Must Love Yarn put out episode 124. They are still high on fumes after their Unwind Knit Retreat, which looked fabulous, and I would love to go sometime. Slowly Yarning, Ruth put out episode number 4. Hi, Ruth. Night Owl Fibers put out episode 24, which I'm very much looking forward to. The Bakery Bears put out episode 20, and announcement, the Pudding Club is back, so that's super exciting. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Pudding Club, but there's a reason they're called the Bakery Bears. Caw Creations, my friend Cheryl from PEI, put out episode number 25 of her podcast, and I would love to give you a drum roll, but I suck at them. Hawthorne Cottage Crafts put out an episode earlier today. Kate put out episode number 31 this morning, and I will be watching it as soon as I am done here, because I've missed Kate's face, and I really give her big squinches, and I'm very happy that she's back podcasting. So, yay! Selma should be back from Uruguay in 2 weeks. And at that point, we will hopefully get a podcast from her. She has been posting stories to her Instagram. So if you follow her on Instagram, check those out. They're fabulous. I'm so jealous. She's having a great time down there. So check those out as well. And that's all I've got for podcast news. For books, I'm still working on The Pilot's Wife by Anne Shreve. I did not succeed in going to bed early enough to... Okay, there were a couple of nights when I went to bed early enough. I did not succeed in staying awake long enough to pick up the book and read it. Apparently, I was fighting something off or just really needed some sleep. Yeah, there were nights when I literally walked into my room and passed out. So one night, I don't even think I took my pants off before I went to sleep. I was that tired. So it's been a long week. Today was Monday. My boss is now on holidays for 2 weeks, so I am assisting somebody else replacing the big boss, which is going to be interesting because I've never worked with this guy before. I've worked with him for 2 years, but I've never worked directly with him. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic. He's a nice guy. And I am hoping that I can get a good portion of our filing system sorted out before my boss gets back, get some spring cleaning done, get some shredding done, all that fun stuff. So that's my goal for the next couple of weeks. I think I'm also going to try and walk away from my desk at lunch and maybe get some knitting done, because my coworker Alice, the lady who sits right next to me, she is a gym rat. She loves going to the gym on her lunch, especially on Tuesdays because it's Zumba day. But she loves going to the gym during lunch. I can't go during lunch because I got an off-peak subscription, so I actually get to go to the gym later in the afternoon. I haven't been doing that. I need to start doing that because I'm not even getting my physio exercises done because they're difficult to do in my house. One of the things that I'm supposed to be doing a lot of is crunches. I need a stability ball to do crunches because my knees are so bad that I literally need to lean my back against something to be able to lower myself down. My knees and my hips. So I use a stability ball at home, but I don't have any solid walls that I can do this against. I literally do not have one solid wall that I can do it. I don't know if you can see back here, but there's a little ledge that goes around the whole apartment. The only wall that doesn't have it is that one right there, and that's where the TV and all the bookshelves are. So I can't actually use that. And in the kitchen, that's where the stove and the cupboards are. There isn't a room in the house where I have a solid wall that I can use for this. So I need to work on figuring out how to do that. I do have access to stability balls at the gym at work. So what I would really ideally like to start doing is going downstairs, riding a little bit on the stationary bike, doing my crunches, doing my cobras. That I have sciatic pain problems. So that's one of the exercises that I'm supposed to be doing for physio. So that's one of my goals, is to make it to the gym. I'm going to say twice this week. I'm not going to push it because I know it's going to be really busy. And I don't want to leave my new unfamiliar boss hanging while my boss is away. I know he's feeling a little overwhelmed too because he wasn't supposed to be the one replacing the big boss this week. Alice's supervisor was supposed to be doing that, but she's ill and not in the office. So we're all sort of rolling with the punches and doing what we can to survive. So now that I've babbled incessantly for God knows how long at this point, I wish this thing had a timer because it would at least tell me how long I've been talking your ears off for. I am going to cut it there and say goodnight to you guys and hope that everybody has a fabulous week. Things are looking up. It's a little bit better than it was last week. Definitely better than it was on the weekend. And I think, yeah, I'm just going to work on taking one day at a time, trying to build some better habits and try to have a little bit better flow in my life and see where it takes me. So I will say goodnight to you all, and please be kind to one another. Bye-bye.